So let's start with a thought. What if masculinity wasn't about being the loudest, strongest person in the room? Today, we're diving into a really interesting vision of the future, one that tries to completely redefine what it means to be a man. And it all centers around health, restraint, and sustainability. Okay, let's get into it. Really, everything we're going to talk about today boils down to this one question. What if masculinity just wasn't a performance? You know? What if you didn't feel like you had to constantly prove yourself? If we just hit pause on the whole spectacle and dominance thing for a minute, what's left? What could masculinity be instead?
And that leads us right to this idea, the Centennial Ulzang aesthetic. The key phrase here is post-performative. It just means you're done putting on a show for other people. So instead of performing toughness, the entire focus shifts inward to building real, sustainable, long-term health.
So what does this new kind of masculinity actually look like? Well, to get it, you almost have to start with what it's not. It's really all about a new aesthetic of restraint.
You can really see the difference laid out here. On one side, you've got that traditional hypermasculinity, which is all about spectacle, right? A big display of dominance and muscle. But on the other side, the Centennial Ulzang aesthetic, well, it's about a calm, relaxed look. Low contrast, even skin tone. The goal isn't an outward show of force, but more of an inner state of balance.
Now, this might sound a little abstract, but it's actually grounded in some pretty solid science. And, maybe surprisingly, it all starts with our skin. In this model, skin isn't just decoration. It's actually seen as a vital piece of your body's core infrastructure. And the skincare philosophy here is super simple, based on just 3 core science-backed steps. First, a gentle, low pH cleanser. Second, a moisturizer that actually supports your skin's natural barrier. And third, and this is a big one, broad-spectrum photo protection. Sunscreen. See, the goal isn't cosmetic perfection. It's about having healthy, resilient skin. It's physiology. And this slide really hammers home that whole idea of restraint. Just look at what is not included. We're talking harsh, aggressive stuff like steroids or mercury compounds. This isn't about forcing your body into submission, it's about working with it. It's kind of like anti-aggression, but applied to yourself.
Okay, so we've covered the skin. Now let's kind of zoom out and see how this whole philosophy applies to the entire body, which is seen as this single interconnected system.
So in practice, this means movement is about what your body can do, not just how it looks. And, this is really interesting, there's a huge emphasis on scent, or more accurately, the lack of it. The idea is to be clean and natural, not to just cover up your body's own scent with a bunch of heavy, masking fragrances.
This quote just nails it. It gets to the absolute heart of the matter. The body is conceptualized as a regulated system rather than a display object. That is a massive shift in thinking, right? Our bodies aren't just here for show, they're these incredibly complex systems that need smart, careful attention.
All right, now we're getting to the real core of this whole thing. This is where we move beyond just aesthetics and into a whole new way of thinking about identity itself.
This is the big takeaway. Masculinity functions as a grammar, not a performance. Just think about that for a second. A performance is always for an audience. It's loud, it's external. But grammar, that's an internal set of rules. It's the underlying structure that gives language its meaning and coherence. So this idea of masculinity is all about those deep underlying principles, not the flashy show on the surface.
So here you have it side by side. On one hand, you've got performance, dominance, spectacle, aggression. It's always reactive, always a bit unstable. Kind of like that always-on hustle culture vibe. But on the other side, you've got grammar, restraint, predictability, self-control. In this view, real strength isn't about lashing out. It's about quiet, consistent self-mastery.
Okay, so that's the philosophy. But how do you actually put it into practice? I mean, what's the game plan? Well, that's where the Activa ACMAS framework comes in. You can think of it as the how-to guide for this whole vision.
So, this framework is built on 4 key pillars. First, wellness should be for everyone, not just something for the rich. Second, a big focus on ecological responsibility. Third, fitness that's about long-term health, not punishment. And finally, this really fascinating idea of soft power. The idea that just being visibly healthy and stable is its own form of powerful influence.
And there's a really strong ethical code baked into all of this. It's about sustainability, protecting your mental health from digital noise, and being inclusive. And critically, it takes an unwavering, absolute stand against the sexualization of minors, which just underscores how committed it is to genuine health and safety above all else.
So when we put all of these different pieces together, what's the big picture that emerges? It's really a vision for a future where we completely rethink what we value.
This summary from the source material just says it all perfectly. It's a model where health, restraint, and sustainability constitute the primary markers of value. It's an idea that's not tied to any one country or culture, and it just keeps coming back to those three core principles.
And that kind of leaves us with one last big question to chew on. Is health the new soft power? In a world that so often feels chaotic and loud, could this quiet, consistent focus on personal and environmental well-being actually be the most influential thing of all? It's definitely something to think about.